Are we back? Isn't it mad how one click of a button can just ruin your whole life? One click of a bloody button can ruin your life. Stream crashed, boom, gone. I have to set up a new one and start all over again, essentially. It's a good job I got patience in it. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your weekly Friday night news show, which is usually me and Shreyas, but Shreyas is busy tonight, so it's just me, myself, in the Red Room, as you can see here, you lucky devils. As it says in the title, Qatar willing to overpay. Are they willing to overpay to get what they want? That's what Sky Sports News are reporting. Anyway, we're definitely going to get into that. I was live this afternoon with Shreyas for the Europa League draw. We've got a bit more reaction coming out from that as well. Some quotes coming out from the gaffer himself, the gaffer, Erik ten Hag, and Facundo Pellistri after his wonderful performance last night. And we'll take a look at the fixtures ahead for Manchester United players returning sooner than we thought from injury, and how can we approach this next run of games that we've got, with certain rotation, etc. So it's very, very interesting. If you enjoy the content, make sure you smash a like on the video and join the growing community by subscribing to the channel. If you want to become a Real Red Ultra, you can do that by clicking the join button next to the bell for notifications. iPhone users may need to do it through a browser. For whatever reason, it's not letting you become a member if you've got like an iPhone, basically. So you just got to do it for a browser if you do want to do that. You'll get exclusive content, an Ultra badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show for the price of a meal deal in today's climate. Anyway, it's about £4 or £5 a month, something like that. So please do support the channel, and the content is going to get better and better. We've got some stuff coming up outside the stadium, some diverse shows coming up. I always have the previews, watch-alongs, breaking news shows, transfer stories, going live if and when certain news breaks around Manchester United. So yeah, it's 100% worth it. And if you want to join, you're more than welcome to do so. And make sure you get your comments in as we go through the topics on the table. The show's for you guys and you guys only. So yeah, as I'm going through, make sure you get your comments in and I'll be sure to read them out. So unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that we drew Sevilla in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Juventus got Sporting Lisbon. Feyenoord got Jose Mourinho's Roma, and the BTEC Union, which I can't even remember the second part of their team's name, no offense, got Bayer Leverkusen. So some tasty ties there. And Ten Hag got asked about the upcoming opponents. He said Sevilla. I tried to do a Ten Hag accent, but I can't. I can only do clear, huh? That's literally the only thing. That is my level of Ten Hagness in terms of accent. So yeah, Sevilla first. We have the international break, and then international break. International break. I hate him. Absolutely hate him. I'm done with England now. After that World Cup, can I just say I'm finished with him? I can't be bothered. I'm not getting my hopes up anymore. It's been more like a Euro, a World Cup where we got semi-finals, was it, against Croatia? A Euros where we get to the final, and then a World Cup again when we get to. It's just like, nah, I'm done. As Duncan Bannatyne would say in the Dragons, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. But anyway, Ten Hag saying Sevilla first. We have the international break and then 3 Premier League games, so there's plenty of time before that. All the opponents at this stage of the competition are strong, which is, a typical kind of answer you'd expect from Ten Hag. He won't be thinking about that Sevilla game right now. I doubt it'll even worry him, to be honest, because Sevilla have been shocking this season, if we're being brutally honest. 2 points off relegation. They've only won 7 games this season in the league. But in fairness to them, they do have pedigree in that pedigree like Triple H. They do have pedigree in this competition when it comes to the Europa League. I think they've won it more than anybody else. But we've already played. We've already beaten. Sorry, should I say? Or well, actually, we beat Sociedad away, didn't we? But we lost at home. But we have beaten them. We've beat Sociedad. We beat Real Betis, and we've beat Barcelona. And these like Sevilla are worse than them. So what really is it a threat? I don't know. I don't think it is, to be honest. But anyway, Facundo Pellistri has been talking after his impressive display last night in regards to the game, of course, against Real Betis. He said, "I managed to get my father and girlfriend to come." That sounds a little bit wrong, Facundo. But anyway, he says, "I managed to get my father and girlfriend to come. Anyway, they were in the stadium, so they really enjoyed it. I knew about it 2 days ago when we were preparing for the game. I'm very happy with his first start. I really worked for this moment. The manager really trusts me. He told me to run errands, ask for the ball, and enjoy the moment. Of course, we came here to win. We want to win everything. That's why we train hard. We want to win every game and every trophy, and that is why my girlfriend and dad are going to cope." No, I'm joking. He didn't say that. He just said we want to win every game and every trophy. Now, the reason why I wanted to highlight these quotes not because it's something, there's some code behind it or because he's saying something specific. Nothing. It was just a nice quote, I thought. But it made me start to think about the winger situation. I think it's very interesting in a minute. You've got Jadon Sancho, Antony, Palestre, Ilanga, Garnacho, and then you've obviously got Rashford, but Rashford's a bit of excluded at the minute. He's carrying the team, if being completely honest. So I've not included Marcus Rashford in this kind of segment, but I'm just looking at the names I've read out there, and not one of them, I don't think none of them should be guaranteed starters based off performance or age profile, in my personal opinion. And that might sound a little bit wild to you. As you might be thinking, Anthony's not a starter, Jake. What are you on about Sancho's not? If you look at the money we've spent on Sancho and Antony, almost £150 million, and you can't say that one of them have been performing consistently. Can you honestly sit there, just think about the performances they put in, and say they should be a guaranteed starter? They're absolutely killing it at the minute. They've got that position. They've nailed it down. None of them for me are showing nowhere near enough consistency to say, yeah, he's my right winger for the next couple of years. I'm absolutely happy with that. And the money that's been spent, I know the money isn't their fault. I know it doesn't work like that. I know, obviously, if you said to Anthony, do you want to be bought for 85? Unless he gets a cut of it, he's obviously going to say, well, yeah, I'll just be bought for the highest price. But if it was just like, yeah, you're going to straight transfer fee, the more money that gets spent on you, the more pressure there is automatically. Especially if you're Brazilian coming into the Premier League, you got a bit of arrogance about you. There's going to be high pressure. And obviously the price tag doesn't help him, but he doesn't help himself in certain situations. And I was looking at the stats before. So Antony has 3 goals and 0 assists in the league in 14 games. Jadon Sancho is very similar. He's got 4 goals and 1 assist in the league in the same amount of games that Garnacho has more goal involvements than Antony. And he's a young kid. Palestre looks really promising, provides, the same tactical qualities as what Antony does. So I don't see why they shouldn't be worried about their positions, if I'm honest. If I'm Antony and Sancho now, I'm looking at these kids coming through, Garnacho and Palestre, and I'm thinking a lot of United fans at times are more excited to see them play than they are Antony and Sancho, because one of the main criticisms of Jadon and Antony is they don't run at the man no way near enough. They just don't challenge him. They get the ball, they like link-up play, they like pieces of the puzzle moving around him. And that's about it. You get Antony cut in, he'll have a shot, or he'll just cut in, play it back, and then try run it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just know what you're going to get from him. So, in actual fact, both of them, even though they're very tricky wingers, they're quite easy to play against a lot. Whereas you got Palestre or Garnacho, the pace they've got. Wingers are all about pace. If you don't have, you can afford to maybe have one side like Man City do, let's say, for example. I think you can have one side of the thing that you're not relatively quick, but say you've got Phil Foden, who think is quick, and then you've got I don't know, Bernardo Silva on the right hand side. It can work, but I don't think you can have 2 really slow wingers. It just doesn't work, because wingers is the main attribute you should have, much like MMA. The core attribute you should have is wrestling, and I think the same thing with wingers. The core attribute you should have is pace. You need pace to beat a man 1v1, and Garnacho has that in abundance, and dribbling as well, and in 1v1 situations, he's dangerous as fuck. So I'm looking at this winger situation now and the 4 players, and I'm thinking, based on what I've seen over the past couple of games, it's a very small sample to go off, especially with Palestri, but Garnacho we've seen more of. I'm more inclined to see Garnacho starting the left than Jadon Sancho. I'm becoming that way slowly. Palestri keeps putting in the performances that he's been doing, which, in fairness to Streyas, he was calling this out. I'm more inclined to play Palestri there, because Palestri offers the same tactical significance as what Antony does, but he offers more pace and more threat as well, running at the man. And you saw that when he came on against, who was it when we won? When Vegas got his goal 4-1. West Ham. Was it West Ham? God, I can't remember what game it was. Oh, Real Betis in the first game. Real Betis in the first game, wasn't it? Yeah. And he plays it out, beats 5 man with pace. I don't see Antony doing that. He's not that type of player. And I like Antony, I do, but I'm liking more what I'm seeing from the young kids at the minute. I just have to be completely honest with that. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's the page I'm on anyway. That's what I feel like. Now, Antony has a little bit more of an excuse because he's still technically settling in, but Jadon Sancho's been here 2.5 years now. He got sent off to do individual training to get his fitness and his sharpness up, and we was all buzzing with that. We was like, maybe he didn't have the right mental focus. Ten Hag's doing the right thing here, but I don't think he's come back with the bang that people expected. I think people expected him to come back and he was going to, replicate that form he was showing in the Bundesliga when, he's scoring double figures assists, double figures goals. He was just murdering players left, right, centre, murdering defenders, should I say. And he's come back and he's had brief moments that is kind of clinging on to a little bit. And look, I might look back at this show now and I think, yeah, you've got it absolutely wrong there, Nick. You was talking absolute dog water. What the fuck are you on about? But it might just not work out for Sancho in this league. It might just not. I know Ten Hag has tried him as a 10, but I don't think he looks fully comfortable there either. He showed a good cameo against Leicester where he came on and he was linking up with Bruno Fernandes, and I thought they had a very similar vibe to like Saka and Ødegaard, the way they play at Arsenal, the partnership on the pitch, the link up looked really, really good and it looked exciting. And I thought, hold on, here's another Ten Hag masterclass here. I like the look of these two together. Jadon Sancho was a 10, like stroke genius because, like I was saying, Sancho hasn't got the pace to beat people. I saw it so many times. I think the City game highlighted that for me when it's coming up against Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker was like, "This is easy, mate, because you ain't going to run past me. You're nowhere near as quick as me. I'm stronger than you. In order for you to do something, you're going to need people. You're going to need overlaps, underlaps, certain people move in, link up, and even then, it's going to be difficult for you to do something." I just think if you look at the only player in our attacking line right now is Marcus Rashford, who's just carrying the burden of goal scoring. And he's lucky. We are very lucky he's gone God mode this season because we'd be absolutely fucked if he didn't hit the form that he has this season. You take all them goals that he scored away. Yeah, sure, maybe a couple of others will chip in with a couple more or whatever. But if you take away Marcus Rashford's goals this season, some of the big ones, the goal against City where we won 2-1, the goals against Arsenal, the 2 goals, which basically won us the game, the goal against Liverpool, is many, many more where he scored the game against Wolves, where he scores at the end. That was obviously the game where he got taken off and attitude problems, all this kind of stuff. But when you put it in real perspective, we'd be absolutely fucked without him. All them important goals he scored, you take them away. Wow. So the winger, I don't think they're going to go into the market and they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, we need to buy wingers. We need to do this because we're kind of saturated in that thing. First of all, we need to sell players. So that's going to be a sticky one. What happens with Elanga, I have no idea. I don't know if he's going to go out on loan, if we're going to sell him. Like it's an absolute minefield at the minute with that. So I hope he does go out on loan because he needs minutes. I look at him and I feel like he's at the bottom of the pecking order in a minute for me. If I was to do a pecking order, let's do a tier list together, right, of wingers, where you would put them in terms of what you've seen from their performance, would you play him, etc. So obviously Marcus Rashford's going to be at the top, the very top, like the gap's probably like that, if we're being completely honest. But who's after that? Because if I'm going off pure impact in a game from what I've seen, I'm putting Garnacho there because he affects games more, I think, personally, than the other wingers that we've got. He runs the 1v1 with players. He gets into situations where he's so confident. He's just confident of running at anyone. And anyone, whoever it is you put in front of him, whether the best world class fucking right back on the planet, or the most average Steve Boyd from fucking Wig, he will run at him regardless. He's not arsed at all, and he'll be relentless with it. He's fearless, young, quick, hungry, and I really, really like the look of him. I think he's got big potential to be a big star. So I would put him second in the pecking order. I look at Antony. Antony's probably third for me at the minute because, again, I always keep falling back to his tactical significance, him holding his position on the right-hand side to create space in the half spaces for Bruno to operate in, Diego Dallo for the underlapping runs. He is important to what we do, and we noticed that when he was out of the team. And he has put good cameos in before. He scored some absolute bangers. Look at the City game. His goal on his debut against Arsenal, super important goal. The goal against Barcelona, which is obviously a massive goal. Like, he scores important goals. He does. But apart from that, have you watched the performance this season of Antony? That's not. I'm not going to say Rashford level because it's a bit unfair because Marcus Rashford's been unbelievable this season. But even when you compare him to other wingers, have you watched the performance from this season where you're like, wow, yeah, money's worth. You've got your money's worth there. Absolutely. I haven't seen that yet. And like I said, it goes back to it's a bit of an excuse for him because he's still a transitional season. He's still, technically settling in. And maybe he'll be a completely different player next year and I'll look like an absolute idiot. But for the price we've paid for these two players, £150 million, they are not giving back anywhere near that for me at the minute. And people are going to come at me and they're going to say, oh, well, Sancho's, he's not been right. He's not been coached under Ole. And then he had Ragnick, so he's been deprived of coaching. So the other players. So have the other players. Look at Rashford last season. And now look at him now. Look at Luke Shaw last season. Look at him now. Like, loads of players have been deprived. Even Fred. I know Fred has his house where he's a bit like, who the fuck is that guy? They just, got him from a Sunday League team. I get that. But I need more. I need more from these players, man. Honestly. Get your comments in, by the way, as I'm going, like I said, as I'm going through the topics on the table. We've got 10 likes. We've got 7 people in the chat. If you want to become a member, I suggested it before, a Real Red Ultra, you get exclusive content. You get a little badge next to your name, and you could get a chance to feature on the show. So if you want to become a member, just click the join button next to the notification bell. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to talk about the sale of the club now. So, like it says in the title, I'm gonna dive into it in a second. So Sheikh Jassim representatives arrived at Carrington yesterday to give a full place look over and take a deeper dive into the financials. Apparently, they was there for 10 hours, which a lot of people were shocked at. But if you're investing 5 billion quid, you're not gonna just have a short second there, are you? You're not just gonna. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit. I didn't really get that criticism. Like, there for 10 hours. What you on about? Yeah, he's there for 10 hours, mate, because they're spending £5 billion. That's why. Right now, the comments have come up now. I'm going to dive into them now. Right, let's go. Dan saying Nick and the technology, the super combination. I know. I hate him. I hate technology. Anyone who doesn't know or who hasn't watched this channel long enough will know I fucking hate technology. I can't stand it. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Dan. Really appreciate it. Saying, who will Ten Hag choose, Ratcliffe or QATAR? I don't know if I don't think Ten Hag's got a choice necessarily, but I think if he did, he's going to go to QATAR, innit? He's going to be like, they're probably the best for the club. I'm guessing. I don't know. Clear. Ryan Edwards, welcome to the channel. I think you're new. I haven't seen your name here before, so you're very welcome. Saying the only way United could ever compete with City now is if they have Haaland. Is QATAR money to buy Mbappe? But do you think Mbappe? I don't know if that's viable. I don't know if FFP are going to allow that. And if we're going to spend money on a centre midfielder and we need to get maybe a defender and a striker, is Mbappe going to be that guy? Will QATAR go get him? I don't know. Will there be something in the air because of PSG? Because that's Qatari owned. It's a weird one, isn't it? It is very strange. Sam saying Anthony deserves time. Only been here 7-8 months. Sancho is an issue. Do we give another season when he's had nearly 3? That's the thing, isn't it, with Jaden? Like, Anthony's like, yeah, he's settling in, transitional period, that's fine. Same thing we said when we first signed Jaden Sancho. Like, he needs to get used to the league. He's been playing in the German league. But it's a couple of years now. It's like, he needs to start performing. He needs something for £72 million. Do you know what I mean? And in fairness, he hasn't been nowhere near criticised. I'm not saying he should be because he's had his issues off the pitch and he's gone on these individual. I get it. I'm not saying he should be, but he hasn't been criticised, in comparison to a lot of other wingers. Joseph Jack, wingers in the Premier League need to be pacey or should have high dribbling abilities. And Garnacho was a blend of that. Absolutely. Barca have offered United Fati. What do you think of that? I like Ansu Fati. I think he's a really good player. Young, talented. How much he'll cost is another discussion, in it. How much do you think it's going to cost us? Because Barcelona want big money for him, and the financial issues that they're in, they're going to push that, and they're going to say like, oh, something ridiculous. I don't know what they're going to say. Probably 60 million or something, 70 million. Sam saying he's giving his tier list. We're saying 1 Rashford, 2 Garnacho, 3 Antony, only just. Palestri 4th, Sancho 5th, Ilanga last. Probably put Bruno on there, to be honest. Yeah, to be fair, Bruno does play on the wing, doesn't he? Which I didn't like at first, but he has. Sometimes he has games, Bruno, on the right-hand side or left-hand side, where I'm like, he's really important there. Like, his creativity, his vision, like, he seems to be different on, in that kind of position. I think it depends who he's playing with. And then sometimes I watch him, I'm like, he was out of use there. And when you moved him more central, he looked a lot better. Maybe, I think it was the Southampton game, where I watched him and he's on the wing and he was ineffective. And now I know we went down to 10 men, but when you move players back into the middle, where he should be, Bruno Fernandes, he looks miles better. Miles better. FIFA World Cup status saying Fati plays on the left, isn't it? And we have Rashi and Garnacho. That's what I mean. We've got a very saturated position going on in the wing spots, haven't we? So we're going to have to get rid of a couple before we can bring anyone in like an Ansu Fati or anything like that. And Ryan's adding on to that, saying, I think Barca are in trouble. They are financial trouble. They're struggling, mate. Honestly, they're running out of dough. They're running out of dough, bribing referees. Exactly. Anyway, let's go back to the ownership situation again. Keep getting your questions in. I love the interaction. I was just saying then about the Sheikh Jassim's representatives being at the club yesterday and was there for quite a while. But like I said, fuck me. If I'm buying some food from a restaurant, sometimes I'll take, an hour to decide 30 minutes to 45 minutes, let alone a global beast like Manchester United. You're going to be there for hours. You're investing big amount of £5 billion, by the way, is a lot of fucking money. So I would be there. I'd probably fucking park a tent outside Arnold's office looking at every single detail I need to if I'm going to invest that amount of money. So I'm not surprised he was there for a while. News broke today, however, from Sky Sports that Sheikh Jassim is now willing to overpay for Manchester United with a figure closer to the Glazers' £6 billion price tag after his representatives visited the club on Thursday. Sheikh Jassim is consulting with advisors today in order to put together what he believes will be a compelling new offer for Manchester United. Is this spin? Do we believe this? And we know the first initial bid that they both put in, so Jim Ratcliffe, of course, and Sheikh Jassim, I believe his offer was slightly higher. And I think judging from everything I'm seeing from Sky Sports, from social media, from credible journalists, the ones like Mike Keegan have been reporting on this consistently, it seems like the Qataris are a big favourite. I think a lot of the fans want wealth. This is pure from what I'm seeing online. This is not my opinion, it's just from what I'm seeing. I think a lot of the fans want wealth. I think they like the kind of 10-step plan that Sheikh Jassim's putting forward. And as a fan, you can't really ask for more for what they want to pump into the club. It's kind of perfect. Like, we set the criteria on this show. I remember talking about it. And we was like, we want this, invest in the women's team, invest in the infrastructure, invest in the market, look at the youth system, everything just like tick, 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 tick. And they've looked at it and it's like, right, fine, fantastic. The other thing you have to think about is, will this be a case of sports washing? For people who want Qataris, are they now hypocrites for wanting state ownership after criticizing Man City so much? And we've all been there. You talk about oil money and et cetera, et cetera. We're going to be put in that bracket. Is that something to consider? All the issues that was highlighted around the World Cup with workers' rights, the LGBTQ plus community, homosexuality being illegal, is something you can't just put to the side. Because I think if you're accepting money, you're accepting that message that is okay. And maybe some people are okay with that. Maybe some people don't feel like that. Ultimately, we don't have any control who buys the club. It could be the devil himself. And me personally, I'm not going to stop supporting a club I've followed since I was a kid because a wealthy billionaire with a bad moral code has bought us, because I don't have a say in it. I have no power whatsoever. As much as I would love to and say fan ownership, we'll go at it, blah, 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 etc. I don't have any power whatsoever. I can't do anything. I can voice my opinion. It's not. We know it won't do anything. The Glazers are going to sell to whoever spends the most money, and they could be the most horrible human being on the planet. It won't matter to them. They'll sell it. Then I get affected because the Glazers have done something. Absolutely not. No, I'm going to watch a game. I'm going to watch the club I love, and obviously promote the message that I don't agree with the things they're doing. That's the way I want to go about it. But again, the jury's out for a lot of people. And I actually understand a lot of the viewpoints people make and a lot of the stuff the fans are saying. So it's a minefield at the minute, but it always goes back to what I just said. We have won. We have won? That doesn't make sense. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, we don't have a say in it. We really don't. I've been having loads of brain farts today. When you're talking about something and your brain just goes, shut down, no thanks. I was up so early, like 5 in the morning, on the radio, if you want to check that out, 5 Live, BBC Radio 5 Live. So, I've done a show at 12 o'clock, a show at the minute. Me head's just absolutely fried. But I'll read a couple more comments out just to refresh. Ryan Edwards saying, if they're desperate, though, the price drops. That's how markets work usually. But are we desperate, though, for a winger? Because I don't think we are. Daniel saying, Rashford, Garnacho on the left, Anthony and Palestri or Ahmad on the right. Sell the remaining. That's very interesting. So you sell Sancho? Is that what you're saying, Dan? That is very interesting. Ryan Edwards, I hope the Qatar bid succeeds. It's the best thing for the league. Explain, though. Elaborate on that, why it's the best thing for the league in particular. I think that's an interesting comment. Rai Gerard saying, who do you think will buy Manchester United? Qatar, mate. If I was to put money on it, Qatar. Everything is indicating towards that. They're going to offer the most money. What do the Glazers love? Love a bit of that, don't they? The Glazers just sat there going, yeah. And the actual line of the show is Qatar to overspend. That's what they're looking at. That's what they want to do. And they're willing to pay that. Not ridiculous, where they're like, we'll give you 12 billion, but they'll probably end up paying 5.5, 6 billion somewhere. along the lines of that. So I do think it'll be Qatar. I think it'll be done and dusted. And you know what I nearly did then? I nearly did exactly what I did before and reset the stream. I would have cried, absolutely cried. You ready for this Bluetooth? Bluetooth mode on. Is it gonna do it? Is it gonna do it? It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. But yeah, I think it'll be Qatar. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself has arrived with representatives for a similar procedure, going through all the documents, having a deep look at the facilities and an overall look at the club. His PR situation's been slightly strange, I must admit, with the messages he's been putting out. How long he stayed for today, wasn't there for that long. The fact he had, this thing with the Chelsea season ticket because he couldn't be asked traveling to Manchester was something that didn't really sit well with myself, including other fans who I've spoken to. He doesn't want to buy 100% of the club, just the majority. The debt won't be fully removed. It'll still be lingering, but it'd be with Ineos, I think. He doesn't have the vast wealth of the Qataris, so it would appear that the odds are against him, just looking at it, from face value. Will he improve his offer? Will Sir Jim Ratcliffe improve his offer? Is he confident he can still get the deal done? Will what he's done at Nice be replicated? There's so many questions with this because if you look into the ownership model, and I've had various back and forths with people on this, on the Nice situation, the way that club's been ran, and I know it was during a pandemic. I've spoken to Chivy about this in 2016, 17, 18, 19. It was a bit of a shambles from top to bottom. The board was an absolute mess. He was sacking people left, right, centre, sacking a manager, a really good manager. The board fell apart. They brought loads of players over from the Premier League. It was like a little bit washed. Ross Barkley's. I think Schmeichel's a good keeper. I still rate him, but they brought him over as a goalkeeper. And it was like a weird blend of players. And the aim, the kind of thing that Sir Jim put out there when he bought Nice was, I want to make him challenging PSG. That's the ultimate aim, which obviously fans hear that and they love it. But it's never really, come up to that. I think the highest they've finished is 5th, maybe. I think they're currently mid-table. So they've not really promised or delivered on what they suggested they would do. Now, this doesn't always happen in football. Sometimes you can be floating around 6th to 8th, and that's still considered relatively successful for a club. That's absolutely fine. But if you look at I'd advise anyone to go look at the job that he's done at Nice, and I don't think it's the greatest. And Manchester United, by the way, is a completely different beast. I remember Van Persie did an interview with Eric Ten Hag when he went into the training ground, and he was saying the job he's doing there is like being a president. The way you've got to manage that club, the amount of things you have to deal with when you take into consideration the media situation, the ownership situation, Ronaldo when he was there, like the politics behind that, like the captaincy with Harry Maguire, all the Greenwood stuff. Like it is like you're handling so many situations. You have to be more than just a manager. That's the issue with it. So yeah, United's a beast, and in order to manage it, you have to have something about you. I know Sir Jim won't be managing it himself. I think he's be hiring that Sir Dave Brailsworth, is it, or something along the lines of that. Who's in charge of like his it's like sailing team or some shit. I don't know. I didn't read into it too much, to be honest with you. But he's hired him in charge of it. I don't know. It's a weird one. Anyway, Chivy's saying the Glazers will sell to the highest bidder, likely to be Qatar. I agree. Sam saying my dream of fan ownership is never going to happen. Again, I also agree with that. I just don't see a world where it happens. I don't think there's no clubs in England in the Premier League, is there, that are fan owned? I don't think. Daniel Raj, is that another super chat or is it just a donation because the chat hasn't come up? So thank you again, Dan. I appreciate that. Yeah, just another thing I said, like I said before at the start of the show, if you want to become a member, Real Reds Ultra with a little badge next to your name, you get exclusive content and a chance to feature on the show as well. You can click that join button just next to the notification bell at the bottom of the screen. So we're going to build a massive community on there. And yeah, deliver some head-to-head content, some loads of different stuff outside the stadium, some transfer bits. Yeah, it'll be very, very diverse. So if you want to join that, you're more than welcome to. And subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. Ryan Edwards saying, may as well just stick with the Glazers if it's going to be Ratcliffe. Wow. That's a big comment. In fairness, Ryan, I do think that Sir Jim would still be better than the Glazers. I think anyone would be better than the Glazers, to be honest, or close to it. 5%, 95% of the population would be better than the Glazers, the way they've treated this club. But I take your point on what you was aiming at, your angle. Daniel Rice just seems like Sancho is struggling in the Premier League. He does done it. He's physically, I think he struggles quite a bit. He's not pacey. He's not necessarily strong. He's not got that lean body type where he's very. He is agile in a certain sense, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be clicking at the minute for Sancho. So I'm saying it's sad that football has become whose billionaire runs their club. It's becoming multi-billionaires now. It's gone from like millionaires to multi-millionaires to billionaires to multi-billionaires. I guarantee in 30 years' time, you'll have a trillionaire who runs a club or close to that. Or you probably already do. I don't know. But yeah, it is sad. I know what you mean. What I thought of Sancho last year when he was getting starts is Sancho was a very selfish player, would rather shoot himself than square it for a guaranteed goal. Well, we saw that last night, didn't we? It was a clear opportunity. I think it was offside anyway, but Langer was just there. You just tap him in, finished it, and he went for goal again. And it's like that's very, very greedy. We've seen that a few times from Anthony as well. Both of them very greedy players. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that noise. Let's go back to the ownership slightly. So yeah, the second bid for Manchester United need to be in by midweek Wednesday, the likeliest in tightening of the process. Another round of the cards with the final bids is set for Easter. So I think they're doing it in like 3 stages here. You got your first initial bids, you've got your second ones, your improved offers, as you will, and then the final, what's your final thing? Bang, put it on the table, and then Glazers accept or decline or whatever. I'm probably going to accept if Qatar are saying they're going to do what they're going to do, which is offer close to the £6 billion that they want. Then hopefully, I'm my fingers are crossed that we can get this done before the summer transfer window. Because if it starts creeping into that area, that's when I'm just like, oh, I can't be asked. I can't be fucked with that. Yeah, not for me. Would it surprise you again? It wouldn't. No, it wouldn't surprise me if we had to go into summer transfer window and fucking panic buying towards the end of it. But I'm hoping it can get done before it. We get the new owners in and we can start, as Ten Hag would say, strategy. Creating. He's already got strategy anyway. He'll know the players that he wants, but it's hard to go for them when you don't know what the budget is. Because if Qatar come in, they'd be like, "Well, your budget's going to be higher. We can go get this guy. You can give that guy that wages." Like I don't get how a manager plans to go get players if he doesn't know who's coming in. Must be an absolute minefield for Eric Tang at the minute, but he can dance. He can dance over minefields, can't he? That's just Ten Hag for you. And apparently 8 groups are interested in buying Manchester United. I'm just curious to know why it's only Qatar and Sir Jim Ratcliffe who have put their name out there. Is it because the rest of vulture capitalists? Most likely, I'm guessing equity funds, people looking on a return for money. That Elliott Management was one. I know that's a name that's come out. But I think the other ones are going to be like American-based equity firms, looking for quick money, and that's why they don't want to put the name out there because United fans will be on their neck. Whoever it is who's offering money, that's why I thought Elliott Management was very bold. Andy was at the game as well to say, "Oh, we'll keep the Glazers in power. We'll put the money up for him to stay in power and keep ruling over this club." That's a big statement to put out there as a company when United fan base is one of the biggest on the planet. So yeah, I didn't like that at all. Mike Gavin's in the chat. Hello to you, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Saying, is Ratcliffe going to be a front for Qatar like they own you, but he runs everything? Do you mean there'd be like a dual kind of ownership and they'll have a bit of backing from a different? I'm not sure is Ratcliffe going to be a front for Qatar like they own you, but he runs everything? I don't know. I don't think they're going to combine if that's the question you're asking. I always thought Ratcliffe would come in with some kind of consortium, but I think everything from what I've seen is Ineos. Whether he's got some other American investors to jump on with him, I don't know. But I just look at the 2 bids that they've both put in, what they're both offering. I just think Qatar's like that at the minute. That's not my opinion, like who I want. But I'm saying if you just look at it from an outside perspective, I think Qatar are front runners, and I'd probably put money on it that Qatar will be the new owners. That's the way it seems to be going. A lot of these journalists are putting out there honey dicking people like corner flags the United saying it's done. We've already got him. I don't believe it's that far, but I think the Glazers have probably looked at all the offers and thought Qatar's is the best. I don't think that's out there. I don't think that's a ridiculous shout. I think that's true. So yeah. Sam saying Elliott Group management very worrying. Yeah. And I'm not a fan of them. Again, another vulture capitalist. That's what they are. Rumours that Ratcliffe will be going for a second bid next week. Yeah, but the thing is with that is his initial bid was lower than Qatar's. So is this second round of bidding when Qatar increased theirs, is it going to be lower than theirs again? Because what's the point if that's the case? they're going to sell to the highest. Whether Ratcliffe has a better plan or he's got better people in power or whatever it is, they're just going to go with the highest. You know, Qatar could say, we're going to destroy this club, but we'll give you £6 billion. And be like, no problem. Put it in our bank. Transfer it. Monzo. Put it in me, Monzo. Sam saying, Ratcliffe has X amount. Qatar has infinite wealth. There you go. Mike Gavin, yeah, consortium. That's the word I was looking for. Like someone else putting the money up, but him using his Football United knowledge to be the face of everything. I think a lot of people was describing that as that, like, kind of like their perfect situation, what they'd want. You know, that kind of Sir Jim Ratcliffe as the face of it, but then a big, you know, sovereign wealth fund behind it. But that doesn't seem to be the case. I don't think that's the way it's going to go. So it's looking like if I was to, you know, go into the future now, I'll close my eyes and I'll imagine the situation in June. The Qataris are probably just taking over. The bid's gone in. They've already had a look at all the financials and stuff. Transfer targets, you look at either Jude Bellingham, De Jong in the midfield. Strikers, you're looking at Gonzalo Ramos. You're looking at Harry Kane. You're looking at who's the other one? Harry Kane, Gonzalo Ramos. I'm missing a big strike. Osherman. There you go. They're the 3 strikers you're looking at. Maybe a Kingmin J from Napoli. But it's going to be very expensive to buy these kind of guys. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to go with FFP. I don't know how much we've got to spend. It's all in the air at the minute with Manchester United fans. And it's been like that for the past fucking 3, 4, 6 months since he announced it in November. This season has been mental on it. Like with the Ronaldo situation, the ownership, everything's just been crazy. Yeah, and we didn't expect everything that's happened. We did not expect it at the start. So maybe there's more twists and turns along the way. Who knows? Yeah, being a United fan is a little bit crazy. I'm not going to lie. Right. Yeah, I'm going to dive into a couple of the upcoming fixtures. So I was having a look before. So the next 5 fixtures, we've got Fulham in the FA Cup tomorrow. No, that's on Sunday. Is it Friday today? Don't know where. I've been up so long. I think, yeah, it's Friday today, isn't it? Yeah, so we play Fulham in the FA Cup on Sunday. We've got the preview for that tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that. Newcastle away at St. James's Park. That's probably the toughest test. You know, you think about that Carabao Cup final. They're going to want revenge for that. You got to think about the top 4 as well. If they can gain some points on us and make us drop points, they're back in the mix. And then you got Brentford at home. Brentford have been in fantastic form, haven't they? Look really good. That'll be a tough game. Everton at home fighting for relegation, but I do think we'll get past that. And then you got Nottingham Forest away, and Forest have been really good at home. So, you know, again, you might look at that run of fixtures in face value and you think that's pretty easy. I think we'll done and dust it. But I think it could be tricky, you know. There's a few potential banana skins in there. I'm convinced of it. Yeah, like I said, Fulham at the minute are starting to decline slightly. You know, the run he was on, just hitting that consistency, you know, was doing really well against big teams, and it seemed to dropping off a little bit now. I don't know if they picked up any injuries. I don't watch them too much, but I've seen bits of them, and I'm like, they don't look like a similar team. I think Arsenal absolutely ran them off the park. So, yeah, I don't think that'd be as tough as the game as it would have been maybe, last month or whatever. And the others, as I said, there's some banana skins in there. But look, we've got to keep going. Just got to keep the cycle going, haven't we? Games coming thick and fast. I know the Europa League fixtures that got announced in the afternoon, we play them like either side of the Everton game and then 2 days before the Chelsea game. So they're going to have to rearrange some stuff because you can't play a game in the Europa League and then play a game against Chelsea in the Premier League 2 days later. It's impossible. I can't remember who they did that to. I feel like there was a fixture near Christmas time, near Boxing Day, where it might have been under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where we had a game and then we had a game against Leicester, I think it was 2 days later or something. It's just like you just can't. You have to field 2 completely different teams. It's impossible. So, yeah, I think this run of fixtures coming up is very interesting. We should be able to get the job done. Maybe there are a couple of draws in there, but we really need to start solidifying top 4 now. We're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We're in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. You know, you've got 3 more games in either one there to get to the final, which is, that's very interesting, isn't it? Could Ten Hag win 2 or 3 trophies? That'd be nuts and get top 4. I think United fans would be like, what the fuck has gone on? How have we managed this? Crazy when you put it in perspective. So, yeah. Ryan Edwards, without Casemiro, how confident are you? Do you know what? I was discussing this with Sam, who's on the channel, my brother, and I was saying I'm really, really curious to see Alessandro play as a DM because I think he's got all the attributes to be a good central defensive midfielder and a deep line playmaker. He's fantastic on the ball. He's extremely press resistant. He's got the strength about him. He's got the mobility. Tell me one reason why Lisandro Martinez can't start as a DM. I think he'd be really good there. I really, really do. And I know you lose a certain significance if you take him out the back line, playing out from the back. I think Luke Shaw can do a job there. You move Malacia to your left, put Leacher there. I'd be happy with that. You've got Sabitzer there as well. Could you play Lisandro and Sabitzer together? Would you go back to the Sabitzer, Sabi Fred? Does that work? Freditzer. Freditzer sounds a bit better, doesn't it? Freditzer. There you go. That's copyright approved on Real Reds Talk. I don't know what they're going to go for. It's interesting, but they're going to have to come up with some formula. Usually we've done well. Whenever we've had a stumble, suspension, injury, whatever it is, we've coped just about. Aside from the Arsenal game, really, when we didn't have Casemiro for that. But I think if we did have Casemiro, I think we would have been fine. Sticking with midfield, actually, Ryan, you just gave me the perfect segue, so thank you for that. In other news, we've had a positive update regarding Christian Eriksen. Apparently, he's going to be back sooner than we thought. Ten Hag said he was making great progress and will return. Apologies. I'm excited because we missed Eriksen, haven't we? We made such an underrated signing. He was second in assists before his injury. Pivotal to unlocking defenses. Worked really well with Bruno Fernandes. Great set piece delivery. And we missed him, man. We really, really missed him. I don't mind Fred at times. And if he's next to Casemiro, it's kind of like, if you've got someone in the class who's just constantly acting like a knobhead, and you put him next to the big brother, and they're like, right, they'll just kind of, I'm not calling Fred a knobhead, but you get the point I'm making. He'll just kind of get on with it because he's got his big brother there who can look after him and watch his back. Whereas McTominay and Fred were like dumber and dumber, wasn't it? It was a hard watch when you watch them. So Fred next to Casemiro, I don't mind, but Christian Eriksen next to Casemiro, yes, please. Yes, please. I want to see that again. I want to see that return. What happens with Sabitzer then? That's interesting, isn't it? Because we brought Sabitzer in based on the Eriksen injury, but we haven't even seen that much of him. You know what? I'm going to check. How many times do you think Sabitzer has started for us? Or how many games do you think Sabitzer has started? I think this is interesting. Just in the league, let's say, because he's only started one in the Europa League. How many games do we think? He's played 5, but started 3. That's it. And you bring him in. I know it's only a loan, but you bought him on the premise that Eriksen's going to be out pretty much until the end of the season. He's only started 3 games. And I thought he'd get a lot more minutes replacing him. It's a shame you haven't seen the best of Sabitzer yet, because he hasn't necessarily been put on the best platform to perform either. I think his first game was Palace when we was 10 men down. Didn't he come on as well when we was 10 men down against Southampton? So it's not been the best situation for him. He needs to integrate into the squad. Whether we sign him in the summer or not, I'm not entirely sure, because I think there's better midfielders out there who you can go get. If you're going to go sign a Bellingham, De Jong, a big money signing in the middle, whoever it is you're going to go get. I've seen something about Enzo Lifont, I think it is. Plays for Lorient in League One. I'm gonna put you on a scouting mission now, right? If you have a free 10 minutes tonight, or you're bored, or you need something to watch, go search. I think it's Enzo Lifont, I think his name is. He plays in centre mid for Lorient in League One. Go look at his highlights. Go look at him as a player. That is someone I want. Very good player for the midfield. Won't cost nowhere near as much as a De Jong, as a Bellingham or someone like that, but could be just as effective if you look at how Ten Hag plays. Great ball carrier, great dribbler, unbelievable at defending, unbelievable from set pieces. Like, he seems to have a really good all-around game, similar to Enzo Fernandez, weird enough, because Enzo's kind of similar names. But check him out. I'd definitely advise that. Just another quick update as well, if anyone gives a fuck. So Matt Hargreaves, the executive of Adidas, joins Manchester United, where he will be in charge of negotiating contracts. He succeeds Matt Judge, who left the club last year and will start before the start of the transfer window. So he's our new geezer in charge now, doing up contracts and all that kind of shit. So if anyone cares about that, that's just a quick little update for you. We've got Isaac 2K5 in the chat saying De Jong has made it clear time and time again he doesn't want to join the club. No point in chasing him any longer. We wasted enough time last summer. And you know what, Isaac? You make a very good point. I agree with you to a certain extent. That 12-week chase was embarrassing on it. You had Murtaugh and Richard Arnold flying out to Barcelona consistently and coming back with fucking skiddy kecks in a suitcase, just like, oh, we've still not got him. We'll go back next time and try get the deal done. And they just never did they? It was just like, what's going on? We've just constantly reading into it saying what's happening is going to happen. It's 12 weeks. And then, ultimately you get Casemiro, so you're not too disappointed because he's been unbelievable. But De Jong can still be a part of this midfield. If you have Bruno Fernandes, De Jong and Casemiro in the midfield, unreal. It is a very difficult deal to do now. All the quotes that he's putting out there and saying is like, yeah, it's my dream. I want to stay here for years. I think Barcelona are going to win the league this year. They've obviously got some really talented players. So it is getting difficult. And maybe there will be one day where I sit aside and I sit there and be like, I'll accept it. That deal is not going to happen. But there is still a percentage in me right now that I think the De Jong deal can get done. And his one main reason for that was he obviously gave Erik ten Hag some form of inclination that he wanted to join. Otherwise, ten Hag would not have chased that deal for so long. You had the financial situations with De Jong as well, where they weren't even going to pay money. So what kind of club is that? Why do you want to be loyal to a club who are trying to sting you of about £17 million? I don't see that. I don't buy it. So there's something still there for me. If he comes out and categorically, I know he's kind of said it in things, but you see that a lot with players. They're not going to come out and say, yeah, I want to join United, is there? Like, they always put kind of political answers out there. So until you get a confirmation where his agent's put out there saying he's definitely not moving, United have turned their attentions, they've stopped the pursuit of Frankie de Jong, I will put my hands up live on a show and I'll be like, fine, that's absolutely fine, we're done. But until that happens, Isaac, de Jong is still on. De Jong is still on. I'm still with that. What a way to end the show that is. What a way to end the show. Love it. Frankie de Jong's always circling this shark tank of a mind of mine. Until that's concrete, until someone sends me the notification that dread day where they're like, yeah, Frankie de Jong's done. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. If anyone's got any more questions or anything they want to chat about before I head off, you're more than welcome to drop them in. Make sure you smash the like on the video, by the way. Subscribe to the channel. I've mentioned the membership a couple of times. If you want to become a Real Red Ultra, you can do that by clicking the join button next to the bell for notifications. You'll get exclusive content, an Ultra badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show for the price of a meal deal in today's climate. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You think, yeah, they are about fucking £5, aren't they? In fairness, meal deals. And the last hours, this membership lasts months, and you get shitloads of content. So if you're on the commute to work, if you go in sleep, you constantly need something to watch, whether it's a preview, watch along, breaking news show, transfer show, whatever it is, head to head. We're going to start doing more of that. So yeah, I think we're done. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Have a lovely weekend, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate you all getting your comments in. You bunch of legends, and we'll be live for the, I was going to say Southampton preview then. We'll be live for the Fulham preview tomorrow, roughly. Usually it's around 5 o'clock on a Saturday. So make sure you tune in for that, and then we'll go watch the UFC. How about that? Take care of yourselves. Like I said, have a lovely day. And I'll leave you with that beautiful burp. Peace.